They said the villa burned because of faulty wiring. That was the official report. Brief, practical, clean. Fire in the staff quarters late at night. One casualty. No foul play suspected. But in Dubai, where wealth builds walls and walls keep secrets, the truth is almost never electrical. Those who had worked in the Al-Murad household whispered a different story. They said the fire did not start in the ceiling, it started in a heart. Her name was Rania, 22, from Alexandria, hired as a live-in nanny for the Sheikh's youngest son. She was soft-spoken, careful, the kind of girl who apologized even when the mistake wasn't hers. She sent most of her salary home. She kept a small notebook of prayers beneath her pillow. She did not come to Dubai to fall in love. She came to work. He was Sheikh Omar Al-Murad, older than her by 2 decades, married, powerful. The kind of man whose photograph appeared at charity events and whose name opened doors in 3 countries. To the public, he was a patron, a father, a statesman. To those inside his house, he was a man who did not like to be told no. They met the way these stories always begin. Accidentally, but not by accident. It was after midnight. The house had gone quiet. Rania was in the kitchen fixing milk for the little boy who woke at odd hours. She wore a simple house dress and no makeup, her hair tied back. She did not expect anyone to see her. But Omar had returned late from a business dinner and had gone to the kitchen for water, refusing to wake the staff. He saw her before she saw him. "You're new," he said. She startled, nearly dropping the bottle. "Yes, sir. I mean, Sheikh Omar. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you." He waved it off, studying her with the bored curiosity of a man used to variety. "You're the Egyptian girl, Rania?" She nodded. "You're good with Sammy," he said. "He doesn't cry with you." She smiled without meaning to. "Children don't cry if they feel safe." "Do you feel safe here?" The question was casual. The question was not casual at all. She hesitated. "Yes." He nodded, set his glass down, and left. But the next morning, a new perfume was placed on her dresser, wrapped in white tissue, without a note. She asked the housekeeper. The housekeeper only looked at her with tired eyes. From then on, Omar found reasons to be where she was. He would linger near the nursery, watch her read to the child, ask questions about her family in Egypt. He told her he admired good girls who worked hard. He said his own wife came from wealth and forgot what struggle looked like. Rania listened politely, feeling flattered and uneasy all at once. His wife, Layla, was not cruel. She was elegant, composed, busy with charity boards and society weddings. She did not run the house. She outsourced it. She trusted staff to care for the children. She trusted her husband to behave. Trust in that house was a fabric everyone pretended was untearable, until it tore. The first touch was small, his hand over hers as she passed him the child. Longer than necessary, warmer than it should have been. Her eyes flicked to the cameras, but he had chosen a blind spot. He smiled as if to say, "You see, even the house protects me." She avoided him for days after that. She took the back stairs, stayed in the boys' room, asked to switch shifts. But power, once it decides it wants something, does not accept rerouting. Omar began sending messages through the driver. "The Sheikh wishes to see you. Come to the library. Come to the office. Come." Rania said no the first time. The second time, she said she was busy. The third time, she went. He was waiting, not behind a desk, but on the sofa, sleeves rolled, looking more like a man than an official. On the table sat a box. Jewelry, gold, too much for a nanny. "I can't take this," she said. "You can," he replied. "You work hard." She shook her head. "This is not for work." He studied her, then said the sentence so many men like him say when desire collides with conscience. "No one has to know." But someone did know. There is always someone. The maid who saw Rania leaving the library, cheeks flushed. The driver who noticed the Sheikh's car stopping at the staff gate after midnight. The security man who was paid to look away, but had a sister the same age as Rania and couldn't help but frown. And finally, the wife. Layla had lived long enough among wealthy men to understand that attention drifts. She had ignored rumors before. She had even ignored proof before. But this was different. This was in her house. This was with a girl she greeted every morning. This was proximity. and proximity breeds a special kind of rage. She did not explode. She observed. She began to watch the cameras herself, late at night, in the small room off her dressing area. She saw her husband switch off the corridor lights. She saw the nanny pass quietly with her head down. She saw patterns. Then, like every woman who refuses to be humiliated, she gathered evidence. Within a week, she had photos. Within 2, she had timestamps. Within 3, she had a choice: confront him and risk being made the jealous wife, or cut out the weakness without ever raising her voice. She chose the second. On a Thursday afternoon, when Omar was at a meeting and the house was half empty, Layla asked Rania to come to her private salon. The girl came frightened. She knew. Somehow, she knew. Layla did not yell. She poured tea. "You are very pretty," she said. "Too pretty to be a nanny." Rania didn't answer. "You're also very foolish," Layla added. "Do you think men like my husband leave women like me for girls like you?" Rania shook her head, eyes wet. "I didn't." "You did," Layla said, but her tone was almost tender. "And you will stop." She slid an envelope across the table. Inside, cash, a plane ticket, to Cairo, and a reference letter. "Take it," Layla said. "Go home, marry someone who will introduce you to his mother. Raise your children in peace. This is not your world, Rania. Here you will drown." The girl took the envelope. She even thanked her. Then she left. She was supposed to pack that night. Instead, at midnight, she met Omar in the guest house near the back garden. She told him about the envelope. She told him about the warning. She told him she didn't want to go. Omar, drunk on his own entitlement, laughed. "She won't do anything," he said. "She knows what she stands to lose." "But she knows, sir. She won't do anything," he repeated. He kissed her. He promised her an apartment. He promised to set her up with work so she wouldn't have to scrub floors again. He promised. People in love with powerful men always forget one thing. The wife has power too. The next day, Layla called the house manager. "Changes," she said. "New security protocols, rotate staff, close unused rooms." And quietly, in a voice drained of emotion, she added, "Move the Egyptian girl to the staff annex behind the kitchen." Away from the children, there was no argument. Rania was told to sleep in the annex, alone. It was there the fire started. The official report said an electrical short in the air conditioner sparked in the heat and caught on the curtains. The annex, built with old materials, went up fast. By the time anyone smelled smoke, it was too late. The staff tried to break the door, but the heat pushed them back. They pulled her out finally, but her body was already still. The child she cared for cried for hours, as if he could smell loss. The police came. Photographs were taken, statements collected. The family wore grief like well-tailored clothing. Omar looked stricken. Layla looked pale. They buried Rania the next day quietly, without allowing her name to reach the papers. But the staff whispered. They whispered about how the annex door had been locked from the outside. They whispered about the security cameras that night only, had cut out for 23 minutes. They whispered about seeing Layla walking the garden late, veil over her hair, face unreadable. No one could prove anything. In houses like that, proof is the first thing to go missing. Omar drank more after that. He shouted at staff for small mistakes. He stopped going out. He sat for hours in the boys' room, staring at the toys Rania had arranged. Guilt sits heavy on men who thought they could have everything and then are forced to pick up the cost. Layla, on the surface, carried on. She hosted lunches. She chaired fundraisers. She wore new diamonds. But the old staff saw the cracks. They noticed how she flinched when candles were lit, how she walked faster past the kitchen, how, once, when the gardener burned dry leaves, she covered her mouth and ran indoors, eyes wide with a fear too large for smoke. Then, one evening, the driver found something buried near the back wall where the annex had once stood. The renovation crew had begun to clear the scorched ground to build a new spa. His shovel hit something hard. He dug and found a small metal box, heat-blackened but intact. Inside was a pendant, cheap, in the shape of the first letter of a name, R. He took it to Omar. The sheikh stared at it like a man staring at his own sin. "Where?" he asked. "By the old quarters," the driver said. Omar went to the spot himself. He stood there until sunset. The staff said he whispered her name. The staff said they'd never seen him cry before that day. That night, he didn't sleep. He paced. He drank. He argued with Layla behind a closed door. Voices rose. A glass shattered. A child woke and cried. By morning, Omar was gone. His car was found on the highway to Al Ain, engine running, door open. No sign of struggle. No sign of him. People said he'd gone to atone. Others said he'd been taken away to live quietly somewhere else, far from scandal. The family released a statement about a temporary retreat for health reasons. The city, as it always does, moved on. But houses remember. The new annex was built, bright and modern. New staff came, Filipina, Kenyan, Syrian. They were told nothing of the fire, and yet, on some nights, they complained of waking to the smell of burning cloth, of hearing someone moving in the hall, humming to calm a child, of a door handle turning slowly, as if someone on the other side had forgotten they no longer lived. Layla grew thinner, not sick, haunted. She started donating in Rania's name to girls' schools in Egypt, quietly, anonymously. Guilt is another kind of love, stubborn and repetitive. Years later, when the property was finally sold to an investor from Europe, he invited an interior crew to film the transformation of an iconic Dubai villa. A young videographer wandered into the staff wing with his camera rolling. When he played the footage back, there was a moment, less than a second, where the mirror in the corridor did not show him. It showed a young woman in a house dress, holding a milk bottle, eyes wide and wet. He deleted the clip. He quit the project. He told the foreman, "There is something here that doesn't want to be filmed." The video never came out. Today the villa stands, rented for luxury events, weddings, influencer shoots. The pool sparkles, the chandeliers shine, the staff smile. But the workers say that whenever the ovens are on and the kitchen gets warm, they smell it again. That sweetness over smoke. And some nights, when the last guest leaves and the music dies, a soft voice can be heard near the back gate, calling a child's name that no longer lives there. Because not every love story in Dubai ends in water. Some end in fire. And fire, unlike water, leaves marks you can paint over, but never erase.